about relationships matter. A fun talk, and our jam that we pulled out today is a Beatles song, and hold on, I just lost something here. Bear with me. Okay, there we go. And this Beatles song, they knew it, and you know it. And life is better when we're surrounded with people who have our back, and just as importantly, when we're making a difference in the lives of others. Life's better when you know you have a core group of people who just don't care if you're out of tune, and who unselfishly lend an ear when in both good times and the bad times. You're better when you have a little help from our friend, right? And you're also better when you're lending a little help to others. That's why we spend so much time in our coaching programs helping you declare how you want to matter to others, how you want your gift to go out and help others. So it's all about relationships, and that's where we're going to focus today. Today's jam gives the gift of remembering and reconnecting with the fact that in your amazing, purpose-driven life, relationships matter. And strong relationships take extra special care and feeding. In the next 45 minutes, Sarah and I are going to focus on skills to build deeper relationships with those who you choose to surround yourself with. And we will jam about key roles and relationships in your life and ways to attract the perfect relationships in your life and the importance of win-win relationships. We'll be looking into board of directors, a personal board of directors, and in honor of this focus today, I'm actually wearing an Amore shirt. So there you go. I put that on just for you guys. Wanted to bring that in, to bring a little love in. So relationships matter. So as human beings, the Dalai Lama agrees. He says, most of our happiness in life arises in the context of our relationships with others. If this is true, then it makes sense that you spend time continuously connecting to ways you can be a good relationship builder, connecting with ways you can create win-win relationships with others. I'm excited, so let's dig in. So Sarah, do you want to kick us off?
Heck yeah. Today it's all about the mindset that everybody wins when you choose to embrace the power of we versus I. Right? If you are a reader of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, it introduces an idea that I want to share with you today called the Maturity Continuum. And the Maturity Continuum model essentially says that the highest form of effectiveness is when you live in the world of we, right? The world of mutual benefit, the world of interdependence. And so note that the word is interdependent, not dependence or dependent, not independent. Right? And so this is kind of what it looks like. Let's go ahead and check this baby out because it's kind of cool. There's a lot of different pieces and parts here. This is the maturity continuum. And you can see at the bottom, you've got dependence, right? And this is kind of like when you are a baby, right? You're dependent upon everybody else to take care of you. Or maybe perhaps when you start a new job, right? You're kind of the new kid on the block. You need to understand what some of the ropes are. And so you're dependent on others to make you successful or to help you be successful. Like those people have to be there. Then you move into the state of independence, and you're like, yes, I can do it myself. I don't need anybody else's help. I think a lot of teenagers live here, right? And so this is the I can conquer the world, the power of I. And that's a really cool place to be sometimes, right? But the point here is that it's not just about the I. Right? That if we're truly going to seek the highest form of maturity, then we've got to find ways that we can truly be interdependent. Go ahead and click that slide a couple more times, and I think that the rest of the circles will show up. Perfect, perfect. And so once we live in that kind of dependence area, we're really focusing in on the private victory, like the things that I need in order to be successful, right? Then you move on to the independence piece. And then when you reach the interdependence, it's all about that thinking win-win. Knowing that there are other people that are a part of the party, right? And there's got to be this mutual benefit. And when you have that idea of we can both win here, there's enough pie to go around, right? We're going to rock the world together. It just gets amazing, right? It's epic shit. And so that's one of the things, like, as I think about my relationship and working with Cammie, is that, yeah, I could probably be pretty cool by myself, and she could probably be a freaking rock star by herself, but when we bring that power together, it's like, boom, it's amazing. Right? So that's what we're talking about today. It's all about the power of we. And so I'd like you to think about your true effectiveness and the growth that you need to truly embrace everything that is your awesome. And let's just take some time to appreciate the power of this interdependence, this power of we. So let's kind of dig in there a little bit deeper. And I'd like you to just take a moment and start to think about some of the roles that are in your life, the roles that you show up in, right? The roles that matter the absolute most. When you think about who you are at the core, are you a mother? Are you a daughter? Are you a friend? Are you a coach? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a singer? Are you a rock star, like a little rock star? Like, I don't know. What are those roles that really matter most? And I'm sure if you're like most women today, you have a buttload of them, right? But I want you to think of just the most important roles, okay? So now that you've got those in mind, I want you to just like seriously write them down. Take a piece of paper and think about these roles and your purpose, right? You may have done this in a previous jam session. I know if you were at the Equine Guided Vision Journey a few weeks ago, we definitely talked about roles, and this is a great time to reconnect with that, right? Because we don't just think about things once and they're like, oh, we've arrived, it's awesome, right? It's that continual focus in these areas. Okay. So jot those down. And once you've got a really great list, I want you to continue by writing down the names of the people that are connected to these roles, the key relationships that are linked to each. So I'm just going to give you a couple of examples for me personally. Right? One of my key roles is role of mom. And so as I think about the people that are associated, then it would be my son Cash and my daughter Brighton. I think about a key role as being wife, right? And that key person is my husband Chris, the Husker-loving husband. Right? And then there's the role of coach. And so the people associated with that it's a little bit more broad, right? I have my clients, I have my business partner, I have new potential clients that are going to be coming into my world, right? There's business builders that I want to connect with and really rock the world with. And so there's a few more that are a part of that one. So you're going to write all of those down. And let's look to the next screen. And the next piece I'd like you to do is to assess the power of this relationship right now in your life. And I want you to give it a score. I want you to think of a 1 to 10 kind of realm, where 1 is this relationship is at rock frickin' bottom, right? It is not great. It's needing some resurrection, or it could potentially go away. And then 10 is, ooh, on fire. This relationship could not be any stronger. Okay? So just give yourself a second and score each of those. Think about its interdependence. And while you're making your rankings, consider a few things. Consider how much you give to this relationship. Consider how much you take from this relationship. And I love this next one. Consider how much you laugh with this relationship. Because you know what? You can have more fun in your life, right? And when you're having fun, you just got to embrace that. Consider how much you learn from this particular person or this relationship. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said that every man I meet is my superior in some way, and that I learn of him. So are you learning from this particular relationship? And then consider how much you're challenged by this relationship. And this can be both a good thing and a bad thing. Okay? And then, again, how are you feeling about those rankings? How do you feel when you're with these people? So, how are your scores? I know when I look at mine, I've got some that are like awesome, and then I have some that are really piddly. And I'll go, ah, crap. These are the things that mattered most for me. What's up? And so I know that those scores that are low are probably lacking, or actually lacking, I know are lacking in the idea of win-win. Because I'm either taking, or I'm just giving and feeling like there's nothing that I'm getting in return. And so this whole mindset of win-win is critical as you think of your relationships. And, you know, we like humor around here, right? It's all about having fun. And so this next slide might resonate with some of you, especially if you are social media junkies like myself. And I love it. It says, the fact that I follow you on Twitter, that you don't follow me, is further proof you're not willing to put any effort forth into this relationship, right? There's got to be some things that we reciprocate here, right? So this is kind of funny, you know, way to think about win-win, but seriously, the idea here is that the relationship is going to be hugely successful if you both think about winning, like helping the other person win, right? The problem is that we're so conditioned to think win-lose. Everything around us in the world almost is in that paradigm of win-lose. Like, you know, just think about football or anything that has a scoreboard. Somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. And so, I mean, it's just, it's around us. We live in this world, but we aren't playing games, right? We're living large, purpose-driven lives, right? And so we have to continuously kind of be in that awareness of, shit, I live in this win-win or win-lose place. How can I be the change, right? And to, no matter of the content or the relationship, always be thinking that there's a better alternative, right? That interdependence versus dependent. I'm going to win, right? So there's this pushback that is our responsibility to this kind of win-lose paradigm. So no more win-lose, no more lose-win, right? That's when you feel like you're giving something and you're losing and the other person is winning. And sometimes even there's like this win of like blinkers where you don't even think anybody else because you're so wrapped up in your own world, right? So today, win-win, baby. And I'll just wrap up this piece.
What was that about?
Oh.
Sorry about that.
So the thing that I'd like to kind of wrap this piece up with is that to be well, we have to be a part of the plan, right? Mutual benefit must always stay at the forefront, and I just love this slide. So take a look at the relationship scores again. What's the issue with any of these low scores that you see? Are you giving too much? It's a win for them and a lose for you. Are you taking too much? So it's a win for you and a lose for them. Are you disconnected from this relationship and you're not really sure where it's going because the blinders are on and you're thinking win, win, win for yourself and not about the other? Taking stock of your current relationships can help to pay huge dividends in your future success, right? So I know that when I look at my list, my role to my husband ranks lower than the one that I'd like because I assume that he knows what I'm thinking a lot of the times. You know, I get so wrapped up into my day and it's just like, hey, you know, you get me. We don't have to talk, right? There's this love thing happening. Yeah, well, you still have to talk and communicate. So I have to like, wake up, Sarah, he cannot read your friggin' mind. So that's a really important thing for me is that, you know, he blames it on the fact that I'm an only child and I just think about myself, but that's really not it. It's just I'm going, turn it. I think he should know. Right? So I know that I've got to really think about what's a win for him. And just know that you have the power to cure this illness, right? And bring the we to it and it becomes wellness. Just love that idea. So Cammie, what do you have next for us?
There you go.
Woohoo.
With people, slow is fast, and fast is slow. Relationships are not built or fixed overnight. Remember this key. Don't rush these relationships. Even when you think it's okay, don't. Just slow down. Take time with them. Be with the people. And we're going to start talking now about personal board of directors. Let's assess the relationships in your life as a whole and how they're truly helping you live your amazing purpose. Keith Ferrazzi, the author of the book Never Eat Alone, wrote, "Your network is your net worth." That's an interesting statement to consider. He says you add to your own personal bottom line with better networking and bigger relationships. And those of you who know me well know that I'm a big, big networker. It's about being out, talking to people, connecting, making connections between people that you know, helping other people. That's what really brings about good relationships. And he thinks that you should have, Ferrazzi thinks that you should have a personal board of directors. As many as 25 people who support you and provide guiding feedback, information, and encouragement as you work toward living your purpose-driven life. I'd add that they can bring a deep wisdom to your journey if you pick the people right. A personal board of directors is comprised of the people in your life who support your vision. They can provide honest and trustworthy advice, and they can be a big help in figuring out how to break through your challenges when you're running into them. And I'm guessing you already have a very trusted group of people around you. People that you reach out to whenever you're trying to make a major decision, when there's big things happening in your life, when you want some feedback. You've probably got that. They're typically family members, they're friends, they're relatives. And for most of us, we pick our board members by default. Certain people have always been around, and they automatically become the ones that we talk to. So today we're going to ask you to shake that up a little bit and challenge you to put deeper thought into this. I want you to put as much thought into selecting your personal board of directors as you would if you were on a corporate board, especially if you're running your own business, especially if you're in a corporate world and growing and expanding. This is a way that you can really start to shift things in your life. And why put an effort into a personal board of directors? Zig Ziglar once said, a lot of people have gone further than they thought they could because someone else thought they could. So, you know, it's the people that believe in us that help us step into something bigger. So, successful people reach out and get support. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness. Getting support is a way to work smarter, not harder. So some of the people on my board, I thought I would share that a little bit here. So my husband's certainly one of my biggest supporters. My son, who's 31 years old, almost 32, he is takes a huge interest in my life. And I often tune into his wise old soul wisdom that he truly has. Sarah certainly is part of my board. And as I'm always turning to her, every time I have a new idea, I'm calling, guess what, I have this great idea. Let's talk about it. Let's dig in here. And then I've got my set of coaches, and I like coaches personally. I've got a business coach. I've got a speaking coach. Currently I have a spiritual kind of mindfulness coach. And so every time I'm finding people to bring around me in places in different aspects of my life, it's about really starting to tune into, you know, where are the parts of my life that I want to grow, that I want to expand, and bring those people in. I've got an accountability partner that I meet with every week, and we know each other's businesses inside and out. And we know how to support each other and help each other. It's a really good relationship from that perspective to be able to hold me accountable, but also to bring different insights into my business. I've got fellow coaches that I meet with on a regular basis, some pretty amazing coaches, and we have times that we come together and we share what's working in our industry, what's not working in our industry, and we grow from that perspective. I've had several mastermind groups, which has also been an important way to bring personal board of directors. I often reach out to my old corporate day folks who either were part of my team or people that I really admired within the workplaces that I used to work, and I connect with them on a regular basis. I take time. I go have coffee with them. I have a glass of wine with them, whatever works, whatever, you know, so that be thinking about who are those different people that you're connecting with that's growing what you're doing, that's tuned into the work that you're doing. And my list goes on, but that's a quick snapshot of it. And so what I want you to think about is regularly consider the types of relationships missing from your board, the mentors in your life that are present, that are not quite present yet. So start with, I'm going to give you just a couple minutes just to sit down and write down the board members that you think of that are important in your life, and see if they're starting to cover all aspects of your life. And then also start to as you wrap that list up, start to think about what areas are missing. So I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes. As you're wrapping up that list, consider if anyone needs to be dismissed from your board. Are there people that are, when you're with them, you feel depleted. Your energy is kind of being pulled from you, and it's not a win-win kind of situation like Sarah's talking about. Are there people, it's not the lose-win. It is the lose-win kind of scenario. So just think about that also. Just make a notice of that. So I would love to hear from a couple of you. What did you notice when you started making out your board of directors list? Is it full? Does it have some places that you want to add on?
This is Ashara.
Uh-huh.
My board is like really tiny.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Glenn is, my husband, is right at the top. And I put you on there. And a woman that I connect with periodically who's just a powerhouse coach and networker that I just reconnected with. And then the other people are people that I went through the coaching program with that I feel a resonance with. But it feels to me like it definitely needs to be built up, that I need more business-minded people who can help me grow my business, and I can help them. And I think that is going to happen because I'm meeting a lot of good people in the leads group. And then also I'll be meeting some good people as I start to do strategic partnerships with pet stores and other places like that.
Right. Yeah, I think that strategic partners is a big one. Is think about who are people that have like customers of yours that could that you guys can collaborate and share ideas with. It's a good point. Good. So some room to grow on that, right? Anyone else? Because we've got Debbie.
Hi, it's Marion.
We've got Debbie online. She said, my board is tiny too. I have been paying attention to some of these within my client circle, and I really ought to consider dismissing. Yikes. So they're, within the client circle. Interesting, right? So good awareness on that. Anyone else? Okay. So I want you to start thinking about developing nominating criteria for accepting someone onto your new board of directors, and sit down, with them maybe once a quarter to evaluate who is currently on your board and who might be a good addition. Because you all are doing a lot of change. You're driving a lot of things in your worlds, and so as you're doing that kind of big change like that, you really need to make those sessions consistent to go back to them. And see, what do I need on my board of directors? Who might be a good addition or a substitution as new contacts are made? Do you have a connector on your board? Someone who's really well connected around your industry, your market? Is there an industry expert on your board? Do you have a sponsor? Someone that's really about uplifting you and helping you step out and do big things? Do you have a listener? We all need listeners, certainly. Do you have a no-nonsense person on your board? Someone who's just going to be frank and just, be right out there with you. Say, you know what? I don't know that this is the best idea. So just diverse group of people. You want different age groups. You want younger. You want older. You want people with different backgrounds, different professional backgrounds. Definitely get outside of it. For example, if you're a coach, get outside of the coaching world and go find other types of people that are in the business world. So be thinking about it from just really creating something diverse, a diverse group of people, a diverse network of connections that you really nurture and you take care of. And remember, this is a win-win kind of thing. So what you're giving to them, you want to make sure, or what you're receiving from them, you want to be giving equally back to them. So it is a win-win kind of scenario. So always be thinking about how can I help them in what they're wanting to do. And make it a priority to meet with them regularly. Make the financial investment of taking them to lunch or to dinner or for whatever, for a cocktail. Give them all the facts about issues that you're trying to figure out, and use your time wisely. Really be tuned into using your time really wisely with them, and always return the favor. Oops, there we go. And as you were looking at your personal board of directors, and if you've noted a hole in there, fill it. And think big. Who would you love to have on your board? Who would you love to be giving you advice? Think about that. Really, get outside of the box of, oh gosh, I don't know that they would want to work with me. I want you thinking bigger. Get, who are the people out there that could really help take you to that next level? And see if you can't make connections. I can tell you when I was starting the Extraordinary Women Connect initiative last year, there was some women I was like, I don't know if I should really reach out to those women. I don't know if, and what I can tell you is when I did, and they all said yes to help me grow what I was trying to grow, it was incredible. The women that came to play on my, on my circle, and it was just like, okay, this is really cool. So very often, if you just ask, the doors will open up for you. And so really, think Kevin Bacon, right? There's 7 connections here, and actually in this world it's less than 7 connections. We're probably down to 2 or 3 that you can connect to somebody that you want to be connected to. It's a small world, and landing that person that you thought might be out of reach into your personal board of directors is certainly possible. So shoot for the stars and keep these things in mind as you attract new candidates. And when you have the chance to connect, don't go for the safe stuff. Don't go for the boring, mundane kind of conversations. I want you to spice it up a little bit. Connection has something that has connect with something that has meaning from the heart perspective, dreams, hopes, aspirations. Fail-safe conversations started in business mixers include things like, how did you get started in your business? What do you enjoy most about your profession? Those are all great questions. Tell me about the challenges on your job. Great questions. But what if you were to take it into something deeper? What if you were to say something like, what would your 70-year-old self tell you today that you need to know? Or tell me about a time when you stepped into 20 seconds of courage. Or what puts you over the moon and puts you totally over the moon and fully alive, makes you feel most fully alive? What if you started conversations like that into something that has meaning? And imagine what those connections will be. They will be longer, more meaningful relationships that will last for a long, long time. And the personal board of directors can be formal, where you actually are saying, okay, this is what we're doing. And it can be not so formal. It can be, people that you meet with once a quarter for coffee, and you are staying connected, and you're, you're investing in the relationship that way. It can take all shapes and forms, but always to stop back and be really cognizant about how you're thinking about this. And when you approach people on the personal board, for your personal board, let them know what you're trying to accomplish. Tell them the big goals. Tell them why you think they'd be a good fit, why their expertise might help you. And based on what you discover about their needs, let them know how you're willing to offer assistance back to them. And then the last piece on this is, remember, attracting new relationships doesn't and shouldn't just be about the work stuff. It's, as I always say to you guys, it's all about life. So if there's a hole somewhere, start to look for ways to invite in what you desire. Consider what you're opening yourself up to, what possibilities you want to do. If it's relationships, if it's more friendships, if it's an intimate relationship, all those sorts of things. This applies. All these principles apply just the same. So keep putting yourself out there. Open yourself up to the possibilities, and that's how these different things. And think big. Dream big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen. You know, you might just get what you asked for.
That's right. I know so many people that just put it out there and they said, okay, and then it happens, which is really cool.
Right.
And it often happens, too, I think, when people are doing a lot of big, deep work like you guys are doing, because it's what opens the door. You start taking care of yourself and focusing on what you need, and all the other pieces come into play. I always pride myself in how many people I actually get married as they come into the program, and they're like, and that it just becomes part of their transformation and growth. As that part, if they've been wanting relationships in their life, that part opens up. So I always find that really fun.
Heck yeah.
So win-win, and your board of directors have a goal, communicate it with your board members, and board members can use that word broadly. I mean, if your goal is personal relationships, communicate it to the people in your network, so that you're expanding yourself, you're opening yourself up. Remain open to suggestions. Follow up with your board and keep them updated on your progress. They love to hear about your success. That's so important. I mean, it's that success fuels more success. So be willing to share that, and then thank board members for their contributions. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah.
Beautiful. I'm all about the models today. You know, the Maturity Continuum, this is another one. It's just the win-win, up the ante model, if you will. And you can see that on this model, you've got courage that's going up the left-hand side, and then you've got consideration that is going down along the bottom. And those two C words are your mantra in dealing with relationships that you want to be win-win. Because if you really want them to be win-win, then you've got to just show up being you. Right? And that takes a lot of courage sometimes, because, you know, when you are vulnerable and you lay yourself out there, then, you know, you just aren't sure what you're going to get. Somebody might resonate with it and say, heck yeah. Somebody might say, that sucks. I don't know what you're thinking. You're nuts, or whatever. But the fact is that if you're truly going to be awesome with your relationships, you just have the courage to be you. And when you have high courage, then you are totally speaking your truth. You are just magnetic. Right? Now, the consideration piece is the same, right? If you can have high courage and marry that with high consideration, then you're truly thinking about the other person, right? You're thinking, all right, I want to tell you this is me, but I'm going to deliver it in a way that makes sense for you. I'm going to deliver it in a way that's kind. I'm going to deliver it and just be in a way that shows that I truly care, right? Because that's what at the core people want. They want to be noticed. They want to be recognized. They want to feel safe. And that you know, there's this mutual, again, beneficial stuff that's happening, right? And so Hitler was a great, you know, guy with courage. He had really high courage, but he was crappy with consideration, right? And so it was a win-lose, right? He thought he was awesome, he was winning, but everybody around him lost, right? Obvious. And so you don't want to have all of this courage without the consideration, because then you're just kind of an arrogant egomaniac, right? And so that balance between the two C's is really critical. And so you can see there, when you've got high courage, high consideration, it's a win-win. When you have zero consideration and, you know, zero courage, zero consideration, then it's a lose-lose, right? You're not speaking your truth. You're not getting what you need. They're not getting, you know, they don't have the opportunity to even show up for you. And so it's just kind of like, what's the point? Right, so the two C's I hope you move with today. You might even just write them down, post them up on a Post-it as just that reminder. With relationships, you've got to have both of those babies. And I think the next piece just falls right in line with that, is that we just can't get so busy in technology and our schedules and all of the other stuff that's happening in our lives to forget that we're all just human at the end of the day, and that we have the opportunity to see what we want to see, right? If we want to see the negative or the awful part, we'll see that. But when we truly seek to see the best in others, man, it's just a much more beautiful place to move from. And so that human factor, everybody wants to win. They want to see you win. And so move with that paradigm. Trust in the awesomeness of others, trust in the awesomeness of yourself, and, you know, it's just about demonstrating mutual respect. In our next jam, you're going to want to make sure that you save the date for this one. We're going to talk about some ways that we can really demonstrate that mutual respect. And, you know, if you're thinking, God, you know, I know that. It's like, well, you probably do. Right? You're probably awesome at, you know, demonstrating this, but it's all about being friggin' amazing, right? turning up the dial just a little bit more, because those little incremental shifts in your relationships, in your life, bam, they can make huge stuff unfold for you. So it's all about just getting better. Better, better, better. So don't forget that human factor. Take care of yourselves. Take care of others.
Got this, Sarah?
You betcha. So we're all about giving you tools today, right? And ways that you can really embrace the ideas of relationships. And another thing that you can do if you really want to, put the effort in and do the work here, is to create a formal agreement with somebody, with this person that perhaps sits on your board, or your husband, your wife, your best friend. And you can create a formal win-win agreement. And so this is what we're challenging you to do today, right? If you really have this relationship that matters most to you, then you can come up with this document, like a formal document that has these things on the screen. And so you get really clear about what are the desired results, or your conditions of satisfaction. So I'm on your personal board. What the heck does this really mean? What do you want? How frequently do you want to meet? What's the deal here, right? And then you can get specific around the guidelines, right? This is how we are going to do business together, right? We're going to email. We're going to have a monthly call. We're going to always feel free to call each other out on, kind of the bullshit rule, if you will. Whatever those guidelines are that work for that relationship, state them, and state them formally. I mean, it's all about clear here. What's this playing field? How can we both win? The next piece is also super important. There might be some really cool resources out there on the table, and you want access to them, or you've got something that other person wants. And so maybe it's books, maybe it's technology, maybe it's your awesome nature house that has a beautiful backyard. That's where you're going to meet. That's a resource. So think about all of those things that are at your disposal, and how can you use those as a part of your relationship. And the accountability piece, Cami touched on this, because she actually has an accountability partner, right? Is that we're going to, at the third Wednesday of every month, we're getting together, and this is what it's going to look like. And here's, I want to have a formal report, perhaps, or it doesn't matter. Just make sure that you all have agreed on what that accountability looks like. And then the last part are the consequences. And I don't know about you, but sometimes when I see the word consequences, I immediately think to the negative. It's like, oh, the shit that's not going to happen, or like the bad stuff. And I want you to really kind of help me flip that and think that consequences can be really, really awesome, right? Super positive. So the consequences of us upholding this win-win agreement are that we're both going to be energized. We're both going to be learning a lot of really cool new information. We're both going to be having a safe place to be heard, right? We're both going to be able to, whatever it is, just map those things out, right? So it's something that, a lot of people won't take the time to do, frankly. And those people are probably just going to be mediocre. And that's probably not you, right? Or you wouldn't even be here today. And so you're upping the ante. It's all about the win-win, so get formal about it. So that's what we challenge you to do today, is to create this personal board of directors and lead with this intention that you're going to give as much to them as they're going to give to you, and you're going to go so far as to make this agreement, formalize it. So that's what I have to say about that. Power jamming all the way.
That's right. So this is a great quote from Pharrell, which who doesn't love Pharrell? Happy. Yes. Collaborate with people you can learn from. That's a big one, right? It's like, who can you learn from, and where are you growing? So stretch the people that you're talking to into people that might even make you a little bit uncomfortable, because it's taking you to new levels, right? And this is going to do this again to me.
We just want to see what's on your desktop, that's all.
Yeah, that's it. Power Jam number 2. With one important relationship that is helping you achieve your mission, create a formal win-win agreement that outlines the following. So those are the pieces that Sarah just outlined to you. So pick out somebody that you work with on a regular basis and say, okay, what are your desired results? What are the guidelines? How do we want to work together? What are the resources we're bringing together? How do we want to hold each other accountable? And what is it when the consequences of change are happening? And we need to kind of shift this. We need to change this.
I think I'm going to do one of these with my husband.
There you go. That's actually a great idea.
Yeah.
So Sarah, you read this book. I haven't read this book.
Oh, it's awesome. I actually picked it up after I saw him speak at an American Society for Training and Development conference, and he just blew me away. And if you are looking for such really great content from like a web perspective, just go Google him. He puts out a lot of great stuff, some blogs, just wonderful, great stuff. But anyway, this book, you've got to read it. It speaks more about that power of the relationship, and he just lays out some specific steps, some mindsets that you need in order to reach out and connect with people. He's met people that are just amazing just because, like you said, he had the courage to ask. So pretty cool stuff. Read it. Never eat alone.
And as always, we always do a TED recommendation on these. And this is a great video. It builds on some of the ideas we've already been talking about on time, but it's got a relationship twist to it. So, and he shares a funny look at meetings and how your behaviors can save the world from bad meetings. But don't bad meetings impact our relationships? I mean, just think what happens in relationships. So it's a fun one to watch. And our August Jam Session is going to be the art of listening. And it's going to be on August 25th. And oh, secret, it's Sarah's birthday that day. So we'll be celebrating her birthday on that day. So mark your calendars, same time, same place. Next steps, if you know somebody that would like to jam with us, let us know. And Sarah and I are going to start thinking about 2016 jam sessions. So if you've got ideas for that, give us a holler. And if you use any Twitter, Instagram, Facebook kind of things, We Be Jammin' is the hashtag that we use. And thank you for jamming with us.
That's right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great week.
You too.